Now it's time to look at operations, and in Java we have some operations that you can perform, and for that I will create two variables. The first one is going to be an int, it's going to be called num1, and I will assign 5 to it, semicolon, and then the next one is also going to be an int, and it's going to be it's going to have the value num2, and it's going to have the value 3. Now the first operation that we can do, we can type here print system. I wonder if there is not a shortcut to type. Let me see. No. So system dot out dot print line. So now we can first add those numbers. So I can add num1 plus num2. So I can add those numbers. This is the first operation that we can do. So we get 8 because 5 plus 3 is 8. Next we can subtract, so I can put here num1 minus num2. So we have 2. Next we can multiply, so I'm going to press Ctrl D. And to multiply with the asterisk sign, so now if I run this, you'll see 5 times 3. And you're gonna see 15, okay. I'm gonna press Ctrl D. We can also divide. So we can divide, we put slash, and we can divide 5 by 3. And it gave us, 5 divided by 3 gave us 1. So it is not showing the fractional part. In order to show the fractional part, you need to declare one of the variables as a floating point number. So let's change this to float. Let's put on F here. Let's change this also to float to see how the result of the division looks. So if you look now we have 1.66, and now we are using float. So for our let me see if I put only int here and float there, see if you still get the decimal part. So we still get the decimal part because one of the number is float and the entire expression. So the expression is something which returns a value. In this case, num divided by 2 is an expression because it returns the result, which is 1.666. And you can also check to see if something is an expression by typing, I think, Shift Control P, and if you click on this, so you have two options here. You can select num1 or num1 divided by num2, and that is gonna this Shift Control P, this shortcut, allows you to see what num1 divided by num2 is. What is a float? Is an int. So if you press enter, as you can see, we have this pop up which says float. So this entire expression is a float. It's returning a floating point number, which is this number down here, 1.666. Okay, but let's change it to a double to see, because I said that a double has a bigger precision. So let's change it to a double. So let's delete that and let's run our code now. Alright, so now we have 1.666, so it's much, the precision is bigger than the precision of the float, so this is good to have in mind. Let's change this back to int. Now, one operator, which is, because those are operators, and the thing which does the operation is called operator. The ones on which the operation is applied, respectively num1, num2, are called operands. So this is simply their name. So the operands are the ones on which the operation is performed. The thing which performs the operation is called the operator. So I'm gonna type down here system.out.println, and I will type here 5, and now I'm going to introduce I will introduce an operator which is not so well known as outside the programming context. So I'm going to type modulus, this is how it's called, modulus, so, and it's a percentage sign 3. And what this 5 modulus 3 is going to give us is the remainder. So it's going to give us the remainder of 5 divided by 3. So if you run this, as you can see, we have 2. So this is the remainder, 5 divided by 3 is by iteration, and we have the remainder 2. So this percent and sign is giving us the remainder. So but why I type 5 divided by 3? Let's type num1 divided by num2. I don't know why I typed that, but it's okay. It's still the same thing. Only that previously I was typing the values literally there. Now, another thing that we can do is let's press Ctrl D, and let's change this to, let's say, plus, and let's put here times, let's say, or instead of time, actually let's put times 4. So we have num1 plus num2 times 4. So now if you run this, we get 17, because it first is doing the multiplication, which is 3 times 4, which is 12, and then it adds 5 to it, and that is 17. And as you can see, the multiplication is done for the first, because multiplication has precedence over the addition. But you can change the order of operation by putting parentheses around the expression that you want to have it evaluated first. So I'm going to put parentheses around num1 and num2. So now we have 5 plus 3, which is 8 times 4. So now if you run this, we get 32 now, because now it's doing first the operation inside the parentheses, and then there is multiply the result by 4. Alright, so those are the operations that you can do in Java. There is also something which is called abbreviation. So what you can do, let's say I can declare another variable here. So I'll type here int. Let's declare it down here. Int, let's call it my number equals to 0. What we can do here, I can type here my number equals my number plus 1, and this will add basically to our number. This mathematically this is not correct, because you say my number is equal to my number plus 1, but what we're saying here is we are adding to my number 1, and then we store the value in my number. And there is a shorter way of writing this. We can write this in the following way. So we can delete this, and we can put here my number plus equals 1, and it's the same thing. Let's put semicolon, and we can do the same thing for the other operations too. So, and we can put whatever number you want here. So you can put here 4, or so whatever number you want you can put here, and those are abbreviations. So let's change this to let's say here multiplication, division. Let's press Ctrl D, and let's also use modulus, and let's add a system.out.print between all of them to output the value in the console. System.out.print my number, and let's do the same thing for the next one. So I'm going to copy this line of code. So let's copy this, Ctrl C, let's put a space, paste, a space, spaced, again a space, paste, again a space, and paste. Alright, so now if you run this, alright, so we get in the output 4, and then get 0, 0, 0, and 0. And we are getting this because first we declare this variable my number, and we assign 0 to it. After that, we add to my number to the value 0, 4. So I have now in my number the value 4. On the next line, we are subtracting from my number, which has the value 4, 4, and that is going to give us 0. Then we're going to multiply 4 by 0, and it's going to give us 0, so my number now also has the value 0. Then we're going to divide by 4, and we're going to divide my number, which has 0, so it's going to return 0. And then we're going to take modulus 4, so we take 0 modulus 4, and that is going to give us 0. So this is why we get 4, 0, 0, 0 in the output. Now, you can also increment your variable just by 1 using what is called postfix and prefix incrementation. And to show you how that works, I'm going to type here my number. Let's type it down here, and then let's reassign it. Let's put a value of 0. Actually, it already has 0, but anyway, let's reassign 0 to it. And now if I add a print line here, so if I add system.out.print, and let's say that I want to increment my number by 1, what I can do is I can type my number, and this is called postfix incrementation, because we are incrementing at the end of the variable. So we're typing here plus plus. So now if you run this, we get 0, and now you may be wondering why we get 0, because as I said previously that this is it's incrementing the value by 1. Yes, this is incrementing the value by 1, but it's incrementing, it first outputs in the console the value of my number, and then it increments the value of my number. This is why you get 4. So if I add another system down here, .out.print line, my number now is going to output 1. So if I run this, now as you'll see we have 1, but because this is how postfix incrementation works, because I put here plus 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 at the end of my number. When system.out.print line, this line of code is executed, it first outputs the value of my number in the console, which is 0, and then it increments the value of my number by 1. So this is postfix incrementation. You also have prefix incrementation, and this has a different effect. This first increments the value of my number, and then it returns the value of my number. So it's gonna increment it by 1, and it's gonna return the value 1. So it will be display 1 in the console. So now if I run this, actually let me put some text to make it clear about what we are doing here. So let's put here prefix incrementation plus my number is okay, even though it's looking weird this. And let's add up here system.out. Actually let's just do it like that. So this is prefix incrementation. Let's run this. As you can see, we have prefix incrementation and we have 1. So this time we didn't get like in the previous like with the postfix incrementation 0, and then we need to go on the next line to add system.out.print and to print the value, because this increments the value of my number, and it also returns the value of my number directly here. And you can do the same thing using the subtraction operator. So you can type here minus minus, so this is also prefix decrementation now. So let's put here 4. So now if you run this, you'll see in the output prefix incrementation and 3. So we have prefix incrementation and we have 3. And if I use postfix incrementation, so if I put here plus plus, you'll see in the output 4, because that only increments the value, it prints the value and then it increments the value. So this is why I get here 4. Alright, so this is our discussion about operators, and there are other operators that we can use in Java, but in order to use those operators that are next, we need to first learn about if statements, because they are used in conjunction with the if statements, and we're gonna see what if statements are in the next videos. So before I end the video, let's clarify something, because I did a mistake when I typed this code, and the mistake is that and also this is also a mistake, because here it says prefix incrementation, but here we have postfix, we have the incrementation at the end. To be prefix, it should be at the start. So this is the first mistake. And the second mistake is that when I introduce the prefix decrementation, I didn't change the text to prefix decrementation. I kept the text incrementation, not the decrementation, so decrementation. So this is what we should say. So let's press Ctrl D actually to type here prefix, also decrementation, but not prefix, but postfix. Postfix decrementation, and let's change this to minus minus minus, And let's duplicate this line of code 2 times. And let's put here plus plus my number, and here plus plus, and I will change the text now to first to postfix, and this here I'm gonna change it to prefix. So this is what I should have typed for the first time, prefix, but now it should say incrementation here. Incrementation, and here also incrementation. Right, so this is what I should have typed first, because in this way this is the correct. We have prefix decrementation, we have postfix decrementation when it's at the end, postfix incrementation when it's at the end, and prefix incrementation when it's at the start. So now if you run this code, you'll get the corresponding answer. So you get prefix decrementation 3, postfix decrementation 3, postfix incrementation 2, prefix incrementation, and you get 4. So I'm gonna end this video now, and see you in the next video.